Time is out of time. We may go second round.
Chairman, thank you very much for
Sorry
the
about
time. I yield back.
Gentlewoman from New Mexico is recognized.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. One quick note, we're getting some messages that folks are having trouble hearing, so if you can speak up in the microphones, that would be helpful. First of all, I want to say I am very sensitive to the local concerns, and so please don't take the antagonism that you're seeing and hearing on the dais as in any way dismissive of the local community's concerns about what you're experiencing. It's just about process. It's about how the resources of this committee are used, the kinds of issues that are within the jurisdiction of this committee, and what this committee is actually tasked with. So I do want to talk a little bit, since we are here to talk about immigration, and that's what the committee leadership has chosen to do, to ask some follow-up questions of Ms. Fisher, because I think it's really important for people to understand what is driving immigration on a global scale. You know, we're seeing immigrants all across the world seeking asylum, not only in the United States, but also across other countries in Europe and Asia. We have immigrants coming from Venezuela, Cuba, Haiti, Turkey, many West African countries right now. Talk to us about what some of the driving factors are for these families that are trying to find asylum.
Thank you so much for the question. As you noted, as of the end of September 2023, there were over 114 million people forcibly displaced worldwide. I think it's important to note that over 76% of those people are actually hosted in low and middle income countries, not the United States. The people that are coming to the United States are mostly coming from countries like Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, Colombia, Honduras, Haiti, as you mentioned. In Venezuela, there is a lack of access to economic and social rights, and the majority of the population there is experiencing extreme food insecurity. Notably, critics of President Maduro's government are arbitrarily detained, forcibly disappeared, and tortured with the acquiescence of the judicial system. And Amnesty has documented that people that have been deported to Venezuela have faced arbitrary arrest. People come from all over. When I was most recently at the border, I had the opportunity of speaking to a group of Afghans who were seeking asylum. They were members of an ethnic minority group, women and students who were fleeing the Taliban rule. So people really come with all different reasons to seek safety and exercise that human right.
Thank you. And I think that those examples are really important for people to understand. So I represent New Mexico, and you know, a lot of the rhetoric that we hear around here around immigration is every state's a border state. Well, New Mexico is an actual border state, and we have the opportunity through our institutions and the various programs and services that are working with asylees to hear their stories. And it is, folks are coming from all over the world, and the journeys that they go on to arrive here are not unlike probably everyone in this room's unless you're Indigenous or you're Black, your journey to get here to the United States was probably not unlike the journeys that the people who are coming here today. They're traveling thousands of miles. They're putting their lives on the line. They're experiencing the most possible risks of violence, things that could happen to their families. You know, and when I think about it and really imagine my own ancestors, who many of whom came to the United States in the 1850s at the height of the Irish potato famine, it's amazing to me when you sit in hearings like this, because literally the rhetoric that you're hearing here on the dais could be a hearing from 1850, because this is the same argument that people have been making about immigration, immigrants, the diminishing of people and their struggles and whether or not they deserve to be here, the diminishing of their ethnicity, their culture, their language, the diminishing of whether or not it is appropriate for women and children who are facing rape and political violence in their country to come to the United States. I mean, really, that is what this is. It's just a repeat, and it happens to be an incredibly potent issue politically right now during an election year. So it's, you know, disturbing to hear, and especially in a committee like this, to be used in this way. But The other question I want to ask, and like I said, I don't want to diminish the very serious issues that have been raised by our local officials and community residents, and I know we're going to do a second round, so I'll save my questions about this, is how we can help create a more orderly situation through bipartisan immigration reform, and to make sure that we can address these local concerns for communities that are receiving large numbers of immigrants. And with that, I'll yield back and hold for the second round.
I think the gentlelady from New Mexico, the gentleman from the great state of Arkansas, the